the chill of All Hallows' Eve, a thin, spectral gauze, clung to the air, a precursor to the deeper, more profound dread that was to follow. We were young, too young to fully comprehend the encroaching shadows of existence, yet old enough to seek the frisson of manufactured terror. 20, the cusp of adulthood, where the echoes of childhood's fears still resonated, and the abyss of the unknown began to yawn before us. And that year, the abyss took the form of Scarehouse, Journey to the Basement. For years it had stood, a grotesque monument to the macabre, a blight upon the familiar landscape of our town. It was whispered that its origins were unusual, that its very existence was a violation of some unspoken pact. Unlike the gaudy, guided tours of other haunted attractions, Scarehouse offered a different kind of horror, a solitary, disorienting journey into the heart of a labyrinthine nightmare. We were not mere spectators. We were participants, lost souls adrift in a maze where the only escape was to delve deeper, to seek the key hidden in the bowels of the house, in the black heart of its basement. The living room, our point of entry, was a stage set for decay. A vast, yawning coffin, its lid thrown back like the maw of some slumbering beast, dominated the center of the room. Cobwebs, thick and cloying, draped every surface, a testament to time's relentless erosion, or perhaps to something far more sinister. The antique furniture, draped in dust and shadows, seemed to writhe in the dim light, as if imbued with a malevolent sentience. And the stains on the floor, dark and glistening, were not mere stagecraft. They hinted at a deeper, more visceral horror, a history etched in blood. The dining room, our next step, was a portal into a realm of encroaching madness. The air grew heavy, thick with the stench of mildew and something else, something acrid and metallic, like the coppery tang of old blood. The flickering lantern light cast long, distorted shadows, turning familiar objects into grotesque parodies of themselves. It was here, amidst the decaying grandeur, that the first tendrils of unease began to coil around my heart. The following rooms were a blur of dimly lit corridors and oppressive shadows. Artificial lanterns, their flames weak and anemic, offered little respite from the encroaching darkness. The actors, their costumes disturbingly realistic, emerged from the shadows like phantoms, their faces contorted in expressions of grotesque glee. But it was not their sudden appearances that truly chilled me. It was the way their eyes seemed to linger, to pierce through the facade of the performance and glimpse the terror lurking within my soul. We wandered, lost and disoriented, through a maze of rooms and false doors, each step taking us deeper into the heart of the Scarehouse. The air grew colder, the silence more profound, broken only by the creaking of the floorboards and the frantic beating of our hearts. The house seemed to breathe, to pulse with a dark, unseen energy, as if it were a living entity, feeding on our fear. The basement door, when we finally found it, was a black void, an abyss that seemed to swallow the meager light of our lanterns. A sense of dread, cold and clammy, washed over me, a premonition of the horrors that awaited us below. It was a place of utter darkness, where the rules of reality seemed to fray and unravel. The prohibition of cell phones, a seemingly innocuous rule, now felt like a sinister decree, a deliberate attempt to isolate us, to plunge us into a realm where the familiar comforts of technology were denied. We were adrift, lost in the heart of a nightmare, with no guide, no compass, no lifeline to the world beyond. Yet we had no choice. The key to our escape, The only way to break free from the labyrinth lay in the darkness below. And so, with trembling hands and pounding hearts, we descended into the abyss. The darkness was absolute, a tangible entity that pressed against us, suffocating and oppressive. The air was thick and stagnant, heavy with the scent of damp earth and something else, something ancient and foul, like the exhalations of a forgotten tomb. We moved slowly, our hands outstretched, groping through the darkness, our footsteps echoing in the oppressive silence. The floor beneath our feet was uneven, littered with unseen obstacles. We stumbled and groped, our fear growing with each step. The silence was broken only by the sound of our own ragged breathing and the occasional, unsettling creak of the house above. The feeling of being watched, of being observed by unseen eyes, grew stronger with each passing moment. It was not the feeling of a human presence, but something else, something alien and malevolent. The darkness seemed to writhe and shift, as if alive, as if concealing something vast and terrible. Then we heard it. A low, guttural sound, a rasping growl that seemed to emanate from the very depths of the earth. It was a sound that defied description, a sound that spoke of ancient horrors and unspeakable abominations. It was a sound that chilled us to the bone, a sound that made our blood run cold. We froze, our hearts pounding in our chests, our breath catching in our throats. The growling grew louder, closer, as if the source of the sound was moving towards us, emerging from the shadows. A faint, phosphorescent glow began to emanate from the far end of the basement, a sickly green light that pulsed and flickered like the heartbeat of some monstrous creature. The glow illuminated a section of the basement, revealing a scene that made our blood run cold. The walls were covered in strange, pulsating growths, like tumors erupting from the very fabric of the house. They writhed and shifted, their surfaces glistening with a viscous, oily substance. In the center of the room, a massive, amorphous shape pulsed and writhed, its form shifting and changing, defying all known laws of geometry. The growling intensified, and the shape began to move, its form coalescing into something vaguely humanoid, but twisted and distorted, a grotesque parody of human form. Its eyes, glowing with the same phosphorescent green light, fixed on us, burning with an ancient, malevolent intelligence. We turned and fled, our fear propelling us through the darkness. The growling followed us, echoing through the basement, growing louder with each step. We stumbled and fell, our bodies battered and bruised, but we did not stop. We could not stop. We reached the stairs, our hands scrambling for the railing, our feet slipping on the damp, uneven steps. We ascended, our lungs burning, our hearts pounding, our minds reeling from the horrors we had witnessed. We burst through the basement door, our bodies trembling, our eyes wide with terror. The living room, once a stage set for horror, now seemed like a sanctuary, a refuge from the nightmare below. We found the key, hidden beneath the dust-covered cushions of an antique chair. We found the exit, a heavy wooden door that seemed to mock our desperate attempts to escape. And we used the key, our hands shaking, our fingers fumbling with the lock. We stumbled out into the cool night air, our bodies trembling, our minds reeling. The Scarehouse loomed behind us, a dark, malevolent presence, a testament to the horrors we had witnessed. We never spoke of what we saw in the basement. We tried to forget, to bury the memories deep within the recesses of our minds. But the images remained, etched into our souls, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of reality. The next day, the Scarehouse just vanished, as if it had never existed, leaving behind only whispers and rumors. But for us, the memory remained, a chilling reminder of the night we journeyed into the basement and glimpsed the horrors that lie beyond human comprehension. And I know deep in my heart that I will never forget that night, the night we faced the true meaning of fear, the night we stared into the abyss, and the abyss stared back.